Hi friends, it's Carly and I'm back again with another review. So I was super excited and surprised to find out that my Marvel Legends Retro Spider-Man figures all came in the mail the other day. I was not expecting them so soon. They aren't supposed to be here till September, and I guess I just got lucky this time. So with that said, my Age of Apocalypse figures had just arrived a few days before that, and those ones took a really long time to get here. I really want to cover those because I've been waiting for so long, but with these new Spider-Man figures in hand, I don't want to wait because a lot of people haven't had a chance to see them yet. So what I'm going to be doing over the next couple weeks will be an every other day review on all of these figures, with reviews posting every single day of the week. So today is Saturday. I had a few technical difficulties. This is supposed to have been an Age of Apocalypse day, but it is going to be a retro Spider-Man figure day. Tomorrow, Sunday, we'll resume on the Age of Apocalypse figures, and it will go like that every other day until we get through the entire series and the Sugar Man Bath. So I'm going to ask you guys to please share my channel, go ahead and subscribe to my channel, and turn on your notification bell because we will have lots of content coming through in the next week. You'll also be able to check out my upcoming schedule on my Facebook Annoying You with Friendship page. So be sure to check those out. With all of that said, I am ready to dive right into the next figure in the Retro Spider-Man line, and it is none other than Peter Parker himself. So let's take a quick look overall. We'll give you a look at the just the general appearance of the figure. I think he looks really, really good. The first thing you'll notice is the spectacles. They're a little bit strange. We'll talk about that in a second. They have a very goggly appeal to them. You'll recognize the body that they used for this figure. He's got a bomber jacket, button-down collared shirt, jeans, and white sneakers. As the Avengers cameo Stan Lee figure that we just looked at. And I'll hold those two up side by side for comparison in just a second. So this is a familiar body type. It works perfectly for Peter here. I am not mad at all at the repurposing of molds. In this particular case, you'll see, let's get focused on Stan here. I loved him. You guys know I adored him. If you haven't seen my Stan Lee review video, go check that out. But it's a really good fit. I also just really love that it's Peter that they use the body for, whether that's just the fan in me feeling like Peter really was sort of Stan's superhero version of himself. I just like that. It's maybe even not true, but not why they did that, but it fits perfectly. So already, if you've seen my Stan Lee video, you know that I love this body. I'm going to have good things to say about it, but there is still a lot to talk about with this Peter Parker figure. We are going to look at his accessories. He comes with a camera for the Daily Bugle. Obviously, got to make that rent money. It works really, really well with this figure. It literally just snaps right into his hand like this, and he holds it with ease. So I'm always really pleased when accessories work well. We don't always get that. Sometimes they're way off and they can't be held or used at all. This one is perfect. It fits right into his hand. You can see that his hand is perfectly shaped to use that accessory. So having him as Peter Parker posed with his camera makes the most sense and is super easy to do with this one. The other accessory that he comes with, I'm going to put him down for a second, is a Spidey Sense head. So for younger fans of the franchise that maybe haven't read some of the older comics, or are only fans through the films that they've seen, may not know that in the original comics, whenever Peter would have his Spidey sense activated, this would sort of be the image that they would use to indicate that he is in his life as Peter right now, but his Spidey sense is tingling and he needs to go figure out what is happening. So I love this head. It's such a great piece of nostalgia. And for a retro figure, you can't miss out on these great opportunities. And this one is a perfect example of that. I absolutely love that. This is a 2 accessory pack. And you know, with the retro Gwen Stacy figure, I had issues with the accessories pack. I had issues with the head. I had issues with the accessories that didn't necessarily go with Gwen Stacy herself. And this is a perfect example of less being more. There's 2 accessories in this pack. They perfectly suit the figure. They work with the design of the figure, and they make sense. So the accessories pack on this one is spot on for me. And before I go on any further, I also wanted to show you, I didn't do this with Gwen and I don't know why, but I went ahead and cut this guy out of his card, and I just wanted to show you how awesome the retro card looks. It's got great artwork from the comic book, beautiful coloring, amazing for those people who like to display their figures on the wall, mint on card. This is right for that. It's absolutely perfect. The back has a really funny little illustration about how to swap the character's head, a brief description of who Peter Parker is, hopefully we know that, and then a great image of the entire line of figures all together. So as far as nostalgia, display, and collectorship, the card on these is fantastic as well. So we're going to get into Peter now. So let's talk about the goggles. Peter has glasses. He doesn't wear them all the time or very often. Man, these goggles are goofy looking. He looks like he's some sort of crazy pilot. And the downside of these, if you've seen any of these reviews, there's a few of him on him out. The downside, is that they are glued to his head. It was the same with Stan with his glasses, but I talked about how behind his glasses his eyes were painted fully. So when I saw this, man, everything else looked so good. I just couldn't with the glasses. So I pulled them down, checked to make sure that his eyes were fully painted, and I went ahead and cut those babies off with an X-Acto knife. It was very easy to do. Let me show you the glasses. Once they're removed, you can see that they are not damaged in any kind of way. As you've seen, I've been displaying him with them on, moving him around. They didn't pop off. So you can preserve this accessory, and if you're careful, and when you're done, now we have Peter Parker. He's painted beautifully. He's got eyes that are all the way painted. You can see here on the side where the stem of the glasses was sort of molded down. So that will show when you do this, if you decide to do this. But for me, it was worth it to have that little mar. It's a tiny little inset in the side of his temple. It is fully painted to the hair, so there's no hiccup in the appearance of his sideburn or anything. And for me, man, the goggles were so bad and took me so out of who this was supposed to be. I had to get rid of them. Let me know what you guys think about that mini, really quick on the spot customization I did, and how you feel about seeing the review without them on. I just had to, guys. It just didn't look right to me. So I'll be interested to hear your thoughts and if you're doing the same thing in the comments. So now that we've gotten rid of that, we can go ahead and look at the points of articulation. I really like this facial sculpt too, by the way. You know, something that I always sort of noticed in those old Spider-Man comics is that everybody looked a lot older than they were meant to be. And that's just the way the artwork was at the time. And, you know, does this look like a 16-year-old kid? Not necessarily. Does it look like comic book Peter Parker? It totally does. So, you know, there's something to be said for the way that things just were done, and that's fine. I'm completely fine with that, because as a fan of the comics, I want him to look like he should, and now he does without the glasses. So when we're getting into articulation here, we have the same great rotation on the head that we did with Stan. If you'll remember, I talked about how articulate this figure was and how I appreciated that there was very little hindrance in his movement because of his clothing. So the collar is up, but it is separated away from the neck, so you can get a great look up, a really great look up, which I don't know why we don't get that with all of them. Come on, Hasbro. And a pretty good look down. So we've got a good range of motion there in the neck and a great use of positioning to avoid hindrance from the vinyl clothing. We've got nice lateral movement in the shoulders here, a fully 360 degree turnable bicep, double jointed elbows that work, which we love. Let's get them on all of those figures. We've got a wrist that turns, We've got a wrist that turns 360 degrees, But again, on this figure, we have the movement going from left to right like this rather than forward and back. And either way, the sleeve of the jacket does hinder that motion. So if you move the hand a little bit, you can see where that point is, that joint, how it goes side to side like this. But it doesn't really hold a pose because of the sleeve. So that's an unfortunate miss, but not the biggest deal in the world. When we get into the torso, we've got a great bend forward. I really, really appreciate that. And it's not too bad backward, but I do feel like the vinyl jacket is keeping it from going just that tiny bit more that it could. And you can see that the sleeves of the vinyl jacket and the vinyl itself are the same color, but the body can be seen through the crack here. So you can see his shirt over his sleeve, which is a little bit frustrating, but let's be real. We probably won't pose our Peter Parker to the side like this. We'll want to see him from the front. So I'm not too mad at it. And I feel like also from a customizing perspective, it should be really easy to put a small brush in there and just sort of coat over that area. It's in shadow, so it doesn't have to be perfect. I think that it's pretty easy to work with. He's got a 360-degree turning waist. And you can see he's got a really nice belt. This is the same belt that is on Stan as well. Not to keep drawing comparison, but I just feel like for those who have already seen my Stan Lee video, you kind of know the pluses and the minuses of how this figure is going to work, but I do want to show everything for new viewers as well. We have a great lateral movement. Now, I would like this to be a little bit higher. Flexibility is one of Spidey's key abilities, and although when he's Peter, he's not showing off his flexibility, he's not showing off his skills. There are times where he's Peter and he needs to use them anyway so that he can get out of a situation, to change, to help someone where changing isn't an option and he still has to take action. So I feel like this figure should be a little bit more flexible here. There's no reason, there is no vinyl blocking this movement. And sometimes, a lot of times, we get a really good sort of like lateral flat Chinese split, and I think that we should have that with Spider-Man. So this is kind of a downer for me. Depending on what you end up doing with him, if you're using him in a diorama or a different scene that you're creating, he needs to be able to demonstrate that flexibility, and that's kind of a bummer. But that said, at least there is some, you can probably get creative with it and make some really good things happen. He's got 360 degrees here in the upper thigh, a fully double jointed bending knee, and a very highly articulate foot. Let's try to get focused. There we go. That goes all the way back, forward, and we've got 360 degrees around and a full rotating ball and socket joint that goes side to side. So you can get some really good poses out of that too. I think especially if you're trying to do something aerial. Although, like I said, you won't do that much with Peter, it would still be nice too. So let me swap out the head real quick so you can sort of get the full impression of what his Spidey Sense head is like. Now, I've swapped this head out 2 or 3 times, and it's stiff. And that's probably just mine. So I don't really know. I was having a little bit of trouble with it, quite frankly, at first. But now, after having done it a few times, it's on there. You still get the great range of motion. There's nothing about this head that hinders the movement at all that we have with the other head. You know, the joint is the same. It's just a matter of if the design of this head would fit lower on the neck, and it doesn't. It fits perfectly. So it's just such a cool look. I'm just really, really into this look. I love it. I kind of feel like this will be the scene that I create. This will be the head that I use more so than the regular Peter head, even though I took the trouble to remove the glasses, but that's just because with the glasses it wasn't Peter to me. So, but I think this is the head I'll use. It's the most fun and the most retro, which is what I'm looking for in this line. I think it's also fun to think about posing him next to Gwen here and having them be, you know, on bugle business or a date, and his Spidey sense goes off and he's like not really in it anymore. So I'm gonna do some fun things with that. Again, I've talked about this before, but we are in the works. These pictures that I take are gonna be up on my website. I'm gonna be doing a little bit more writing about my toys, so you guys can look forward to that too. So with all that said, we have looked now at 2 of the figures in the Retro Spider-Man figure Marvel Legends line. I am loving them. I feel like there were a lot of missteps with the accessories pack of the Gwen Stacy figure, but Gwen herself was spectacular. This Peter Parker had the one little Boffo with the glasses, but he looks great. So I feel like overall we're getting a really good sense of a great line of figures to come. I am super, super, super excited to get into these villains, but I think the next time we're gonna do a side character because you gotta save the best stuff for last. So let me know what you guys are thinking of the Retro Spider-Man figures so far. I got mine super early. It wasn't supposed to be here till September. Let me know if that's happening for you or if yours are still projected to come later. My Gwen I found in the store. Are you guys seeing these on the shelves anywhere? I'm really curious to know what's going on. Or if maybe BBTS was just making it up to me for being a little bit late on my AOA figures. So that is that on Peter Parker. We will get into another figure the day after tomorrow. If you are following the Spider-Man line, turn on your notifications bell and keep an eye out. I will be doing another one of these figures on Monday. Tomorrow, Sunday, if you're interested in those, make sure you have your notification bell on because I will be posting another Age of Apocalypse figure and I can't wait to do it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for your likes, your dislikes, your comments, all the ways that you interact with me. I'm so appreciative and I will be back tomorrow with another one. Thanks so much. Bye, friends.